Go on then, action.
Oh yeah, crash hour.
He's drunk already.
Break your boots on.
Bob's going hiking. This is the village. Bob. That's it. Quirky. Very open.
I'd like to know what it is, I must say. I love that. That's why I love the fact that it's got the piano. Because I want to hear.
No.
Don't. You got to muffle my voice there.
Muffled voice.
Tony, stop. You can't. Get up. I will not be held responsible.
For what?
For the story of the sheep.
Which involved Tony
Sheep. A sheep.
and Tony.
A sheep. Just
And Tony.
and Tony. Tony.
We were all the same.
No.
And the sheep.
Tony
And the sheep.
and the sheep.
That's like a children's book.
Yeah.
Tony and the sheep. And the sheep whipped Tony.
The Tony and the sheep didn't do.
No.
So Bernie, we've come here this evening.
To celebrate, to join with the happiness of Tony and Kirsty's wedding. And Tony said he would. And I'm still waiting for Tony to show up. Zoom around.
Were you invited?
Here we go, here we go. Tony said, I don't see Tony on it.
Photo bomb.
Well, hang on. You're a hobo now, Bernie.
I came 20,000 miles for this wedding.
Yeah,
I
did
wanted
you?
Tony to show up.
To shut up or show up?
Show up. I don't see him there.
Oh, hang on. I'll just zoom around again. Empty. Empty. Rice boobies. Right, here we go.
Maybe,
Zoom in.
is there
Hobo.
anybody come to this wedding? Anybody come to the wedding? Zoom around. Maybe it's just a bad.
Empty. Over here to the wedding. There to the wedding. Could you just say a few things about your nephew? Do quite please.
My nephew's here tonight. My nephew,
Yeah.
Jamie, this is my nephew Jamie.
Yeah.
He came out to see me.
Of course
He said, Bernie, you're coming out, I'm going to see you. And he loved me. This guy loves me. He came out to see me.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he came out to see me.
Yeah, he does.
Jamie, thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's give a rational approach on your views on your nephews.
So, Alex, before he got married, we got together and had a good old booze up.
Did you?
So I said, Tom, let's have a booze up. He said, yeah, sure. I said, yeah, sure. You know what that means? Yeah, sure. I'm still waiting. He's not here. So, I was hoping.
Okay.
One of my favorite nephews could show up, but he didn't. And And I'm kind of.
So, tell me.
I'm kind of sad about this.
So tell me, Bernie, how are you going to get over this?
I don't know, but I'm not sure if I can do this now. I'll stop this.
Oh,
Wait, I'm kind of getting teary.
I've got all the camera still here.
And he didn't. I want to just have one drink with Sandy before his wedding, but he really didn't. He really didn't. So, I'm so please get it off.
Oh, okay.
Smile.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monk Coniston for this very special occasion for Tony and Kirsty. My name's Pauline and I'm going to do the ceremony today. With me actually Helen and she's going to be registering. Before we start with the ceremony, I just have to think what's wrong with my phone. Would you please make sure it's on silent or switched off? Also, today, so they will be taking photographs throughout the ceremony. There will be an opportunity at the very end where you will be able to absolutely stunning. Means a great deal to Tony and Kirsty. If you, their family and friends, are here to witness their wedding vows and share in the happiness of this, their wedding day. Through their vows today, which are a formal and public pledge of their love, they make a commitment to each other. This commitment is closeness and distance. Closeness for growing together, sharing themselves and their experiences with each other, and distance. Accepting each other for who they are. It's making a promise of friendship and mutual respect. And it calls for honesty, patience, courage, and of course humour. Marriage is where each partner is there to support the other in all that they do. At this point, I must ask if any person here present knows of any lawful impediment to this marriage, they should declare it now. The place in which you are now met has been duly sanctioned according to law for the celebration of marriages. Before you are joined in matrimony, I have to remind you of the solemn and binding character of the vows you are about to make. Marriage in this country means the union of two people voluntarily entered into for life to the exclusion of all others. Come to the promises that you're now going to make to each other. So Tony, do you wish to take Kirsty to be your lawful wedded wife? Do you promise to love and care for her, support and comfort her through good times and bad, today and forever?
I do.
Kirsty, do you wish to take Tony to be your lawful wedded husband? Do you promise to love and care for him, support and comfort him through good times and bad, today and forever? You are now both required to make two declarations. The first declaration I'm going to ask you to make states that you do not know of any legal reason why you should not be married to each other. Are you, Anthony Stewart Griffith, free lawfully to marry Kirsty Jennifer Brewer?
I am.
Are you, Kirsty Jennifer Brewer, free lawfully to marry Anthony Stewart Griffiths? The second declaration asks you have to ask these people here with you today to witness your contract of marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please like to be upstanding? Maybe you could do that way you feel. Ladies to each other. I, Anthony Stewart,
I, Anthony Stewart Griffiths,
take you, Kirsty Jennifer Brewer,
take you, Kirsty Jennifer Brewer,
to be my wedded wife.
to be my wedded wife.
I, Kirsty Jennifer Brewer, take you, Anthony Stewart Griffith, to be my wedded husband. Don't worry, it means a lot to you. Right, ladies and gentlemen, would you now like to please be seated? We're now going to have a reading by Sophia. Sophia.
Vow by Roger McCarthy. I vow to honour the commitment made this day, which, unlike the flowers in the cake, will not wither or decay. I promise not to obey, but to respond joyfully, to forgive and to console, for once incomplete, we now are whole. I vow to bear in mind that if, at times, things seem to go from bad to worse, they also go from bad to better. The lost person handed in, the letter contains wonderful news. Trains run on time, hurricanes run out of breath, floods subside, and toast lands down side up. And with this ring, my final vow, to recall whatever the future may bring, the vow I feel now.
So we now come to the moment where Tony and Kirsty are going to exchange rings. So have we got Alex? The rings? Get it right. wedding ring is the ancient and traditional seal of a marriage. It is an unbroken circle that symbolises unending and everlasting love, and it is the outward sign of the lifelong promises you have just made to each other. I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a symbol of our marriage
as a symbol of our marriage,
and as a token of my love.
as a token of my love.
I promise that I will respect and care for you,
I promise that I will respect and care for you,
be loyal to you,
be loyal to you,
and above all,
above all,
love and cherish you
love and cherish you
throughout our lives together.
throughout our lives together.
I receive this ring as a symbol of all that we have promised and all that we shall share. I give you this ring as a symbol of our marriage and as a token of my love. I promise that I will respect and care for you, be loyal to you, and above all, love and cherish you throughout our lives together. I receive this ring
I receive this ring
as a symbol of all that we have promised
as a symbol of all that we have.
and all that we shall share. May these rings, which by long tradition form the seal of the marriage, be a symbol of the vows you made here today. May you wear them with happiness and pride, today and forever. So, Tony and Kirsty, you have both made the declarations required by law, and you have made solemn and binding promises to each other in the presence of your witnesses, family, and friends. You symbolised your marriage by the joining of hands and the giving and receiving of rings. May the feelings of love that you have for each other deepen and grow ever stronger throughout the years to come. Therefore, it gives me great pleasure to declare you are now husband and wife, happily married to each other.
Well then.
Yep, getting there. Cheers.
On behalf of Cumbria Registration Service and myself, we would like to wish Tony and Kirsty a very long, happy, successful life together. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Tony Griffith and Mrs. Kirsty Brewer.
you when you boo-hoo-hoo, 'cause I love you. I can't turn my back on the things you lack, 'cause I love you. I just like the things you do. Ooh. Don't you change the things you do. Ooh. You get me in a spot and smile the smile you got, and I love you. You make me out a clown and you put me down. How I love you. I just like the things you do. Ooh. Don't you change the things you do. Bite your lip, you're gonna flip your flip, and I love you. Though we're miles apart, you still reach my.
Came up with this tradition. It's ridiculous. I went to my back. You say that and he just emerges from behind a bush.
Hello, babe.
Everyone ready? Yay! And everyone say hooray! Hooray! You get a bigger grin then. And Kirsty and Tony have a kiss. Yay! Okay, can everyone see me? Okay, everyone look right this way. And
Sam's coming on his own. Oh, wait a minute. Is Laura coming? Laura's coming with Zach. With Leo. Leo's flat out.
taking the photo, if they're just a little bit higher. Okay, now there's just, okay?
What's that say? Hoff.
I know them by like the
You're so good at it.
Very high pitched squeal there, wasn't it?
Who's that with
No, right, let's get it. I might just try it. Well, I might just try it. Yeah.
Maybe I'll just pod you.
Hi everyone, I'm John DeCue, just because I don't really like what you're
Can you not hear it?
No, just do.
Can you hear me?
Big knob.
Okay, that's it. I'll just shout. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for being here. I'm really overwhelmed that pretty much all my favourite people are here in one room, and it's a Wednesday and we're in the north and most of you are from the south or living in the south. So we feel so loved and you've made us feel so special, so I just wanted to say thank you. Yeah, me and Tony have said sort of throughout the day how lucky we are, and we always try and remind each other how lucky we are. So I'd just like to say a few thank yous. Firstly, to the people that have been in the cottages. So we've been here since Monday, and there's been sort of 22 friends, and mainly friends and some family, and you've all been amazing. Like, it's been so much fun and such a great preamble to the wedding. We chose this venue in December, and right from then, I don't think we would have had the wedding that we had today if it hadn't been for Kathy and Paul, Tony's stepmom, and whether it's been driving us or making the bunting, making the lights, you're both ever resourceful and you're so generous, and we really appreciate it. And I've come to see you as sort of great friends as well, and we always have so much fun when we're up in the Lake District. And if there ever is a zombie apocalypse, definitely make a beeline for Paul, because he's your best chance of survival. Anything. And Paul, I think when we first met that I mixed up, I didn't see the difference in being from Lancashire and being from Yorkshire. And sorry about that. Kathy, I owe you many hours of sewing for all your fundraising and all your charitable causes that you do, so you can bank that one.
I'll call on it, don't worry.
Also, bunting, I wanted to thank Maya and Ashley as well, because they made a lot of the flags and that was a massive help, so thank you to both of you as well. So I don't really like being the centre of attention, and as soon as we got engaged I knew that I'd need to surround myself with lots of amazing women, and I've sort of created a little bride tribe and chosen 6 bridesmaids. So Sophia, Helen, Shannon, Britannia, Maya and my sister Hannah. And I don't know, I'm probably going to start again like I did at this. Thank you for pouring so much love and so much creativity and hard work and elbow grease and fun into this wedding, and we couldn't have done it without you. I think you're amazing, exceptionally special women, all of you. And I don't know where the friend bit starts and the family bit begins, but I feel like you're family. And when I'm with you, I just feel like I'm home. So thank you so much, all of you. Sorry. My chief bridesmaid and my sister, my oldest, greatest friend. I'm so lucky that I've got a sister that we can go on holiday together and have great times. And ever since I was 3, you've been there and a constant in my life. And I think everybody that meets you always comes away happier and sunnier for it. You're amazing. Woo! I have some gifts for the bridesmaids. I might do that after actually, because I'm not very and Hannah and me and Hannah owe so much to our parents sitting here. Among the 4 of us, we refer to ourselves as Team Brewer. It's a very small team, just 4 of us. And then we have lovely Max and Tony as kind of our sidekicks to Team Brewer. And you really are the coolest parents. The fact we can still go to gigs and go to the pub and go on holiday, and you're so much fun. And I think me and Hannah owe a lot to you. You taught me to be curious and ask questions and always try and be interested and interesting. And I hope that if me and Tony are lucky enough to have children one day, that I can replicate the kind of selflessness and generosity and fun that you've given us. And then my own family, so the Darcys and the Lawrences, you're amazing. I'm so lucky. I think I've just realised more and more how lucky I am to have such a fun and exceptionally generous family. And now I've acquired the Jeffreys and the Griffithses, and I wanted to thank you for making me feel so welcome. From long ago I felt like part of the family. I've also gained a brilliant sister-in-law and brother-in-law, Alex and Emma, and I feel like we've become a little foursome and have some great times. And and Alex, I know that Tony always says his 2 favourite people are me and you, and you've been a great friend to me, and a great comment to me. And you're always a great calming influence, and I'm so grateful to you today in the run-up, and just generally always being able to calm things down. And you're both always so magnanimous and calm under pressure when you need to be. And I think you're both great. And Emma's great, and I'm really happy I feel really privileged to have you as my family now. And then that brings me on to Tony's mum Jen and stepdad Paul. You've always made me feel so welcome, and it's just such a bonus to kind of acquire you guys as family as well. And Jen, you're so kind and so sweet and thoughtful, and you wear it very lightly, but you are, and you're so just quietly, there and thinking of other people all the time. And you've both made me feel so welcome, and I think you've instilled so much kindness into Tony as well. I know he gets that from you, and his fierce loyalty as well, I would say. And thank you so much. We have gifts for the sort of mums as well.
We'll sort
I'll get that after. Tony, I didn't get to meet you and Alex's dad, but everyone says what a credit you and your brother are to your dad, and what great boys you are. And he's I think you've obviously got a lot of the same traits as him, and I wish I could have met him, but I feel like he's sort of living on in you and Alex and the Griffithses. So I'm sure there'll be several toasts to the dad. So Tony and me met at a niche financial publication, the World of Hedge Funds. And the first thing I sort of realised about Tony is how generous he is. He's always the first man at the bar. He's always the first one to sponsor someone if they're going for a run, doing a sponsored run, or you always champion other people. You're a great champion of other people, including me. And I mean, I remember one thing we talk about a lot is when you were always the first sort of get the round of Jaeger bombs or Skitter bombs or both, and in at the bar for everyone that was sort of there. And one day, I think it was the Olympics, and you thought you'd won one of the draws, but it was just the next day you lots of money depleted from your bank account, but it's because you just bought a round of Jaeger bombs for everyone. Yeah, I think you always clap the hardest and you always cheer the loudest for everyone, and you're so generous, and I think that's why you're so popular, and you're great. You're really a special person. The room is always better for Tony being in the room, so I don't really. There was just one thing that I mean, I think you always keep things so fun as well. And there's just one thing that I was thinking of this morning was when we travel on an aeroplane, I like to hold Tony's hand because I get a bit nervous. And Tony has a ritual as well that he likes to put his earphones on and listen to this very epic orchestral music called Finlandia, and he tries to time the sort of crescendo as so we're taking off. And you don't always kind of get there. But you're always, I think that sums you up because you're always sort of striving for this sort of epic, sort of magical, generous, just, you're so sort of, I don't know, there's a metaphor in there somewhere. But, yeah. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, and I'll pass you over to my dad. Thank you.
Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Yeah? Okay. Well, I was hoping to go first actually. I'm actually feeling very emotional now. I wish you guys hadn't started. I've known actually since the birth of my two daughters, our two daughters, that I one day would be, required to stand before an audience to deliver a wedding day speech. And I can't quite believe actually that day is today, and here I am standing up, and there you all are, all looking at me, curious and wondering what I'm going to say. A couple of days ago, I thought, well, I better get myself organised, better get some inspiration from somewhere. And so, like we all do these days, I googled wedding day speeches, and there they all came up, dozens of speeches. And I thought, well, I'll read them all, and I did. And I quickly realised, actually, that there is actually a template you can use for these things, And also realised that actually, although I'd read loads of speeches, they were actually essentially the same speech. And one of the things that most of them start with, these are these examples of speeches, is that the bridegroom, the bride's father, expressing the sentiment that it's a day of mixed emotions, it's happiness, because obviously it's a new chapter in their daughter's new life, a new and exciting life's about to begin. But actually sadness too, because it's a day when they fly the nest. And I have to say that I don't actually feel those sentiments at all. I actually feel pretty good. Although I feel kind of emotional, I feel very, very happy. And I don't see today as a day when, we lose Kirsty. And Kirsty leaves our little team brewer, as Hannah likes to call it. But I see it as an opportunity for all of us, actually, for Jacqueline, Kirsty, Hannah and I to reach out, really, to hold our hands out to Tony and invite him to become a member of our little team.
Invitation accepted.
That's very good to hear. That's very good to hear. The other reason I don't, I feel great joy is that I was looking at her just now mingling. I don't think I've seen Kirsty look so happy. Really, I think she looks absolutely radiant, and I hope you won't mind if I kind of absolutely savour this moment. And I share it actually with my partner, Jacqueline. who's the person really who's done the most. It's most credited with actually helping Kirsty to develop into the beautiful and absolutely wonderful person that we all love today. Oh. Yeah. Now, most of you probably won't know that when Kirsty was 2, she was gravely ill. I still remember that evening in Lewisham Hospital, the intensive care unit, and I was with Jacqueline, and Kirsty was in this little cot, all wired up to all these bleeping machines, and all these doctors and nurses were all crowded around her, all looking very worried. But she pulled through, little Westie bear. She's always going to be to me. She battled on, and boy has she prospered. She really has. Ever since she was in primary school, she'd always wanted to be a journalist, and it's amazing. It still amazes Jacqueline and I when we read her articles. She's not only an accomplished writer, a wordsmith. I'm sure you all know that, but she's also a very talented dressmaker, and she's a very talented painter, and she's a very quiet, unassuming person, Kirsty. But she's quite an amazing individual, and I'm so proud of her. I really am. Now I'd like to say a few words about Tony. And when you write a speech, it's actually quite easy to just say nice things when you want to commend someone. It's actually not that difficult to do that. But what I wanted to do today was actually to say a few words that are really meaningful, that really resonate. And as you all know, of course, I have 2 wonderful daughters. But I can say, Tony, that if I'd had a son, I would have been absolutely thrilled if he turned out the way you have. And believe me, I hope you'll appreciate that as sentiments go, or as that is, I can't say too highly. That is quite an endorsement, Tony. And I hope you accept it. Okay? Now, we're all here today to have a good time, aren't we? We're here to celebrate Kirsty and Tony's wedding. But it's also a time when we just need to take stock and actually appreciate that actually some very important people in Kirsty and Tony's lives aren't here today. Yeah? And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that without these wonderful individuals, we wouldn't be having this occasion, And I want us all just to spare a thought and remember Tony's dad, Lenny, whose ashes are actually scattered in Coniston Waters. Tony's grandparents and Jen's mum and dad, Joan and Ron. And then, of course, there is your Tony's grandparents from Lenny's side of the family, Cecil and Joan. And from Kirsty's side of the family, my own parents actually, Roy and Consuelo, they're all kind of looking down at us, and they're all rooting for you, and they're cheering you on, and they're wishing you absolute happiness in your future. Okay? So what I'd like us to do, ladies and gentlemen, is just to raise a toast for absent friends.
Absent friends.
Right. That's the warm-up act. I'm just the warm-up act, guys. I'm now going to hand over to Tony. It all gets much more electrifying from when...
Oh, wow.
Well, thank you, Pete and Kirsty, and thank you, Pete, for those kind words. That was really wonderful. So when I was asking a few friends that have been married about the kind of things I should do in terms of a groom's speech. A couple of bits of advice came up. One was to keep it short, and the other was not to read from cards. I think the first one is going to be pretty okay. I don't think I've got too much to say. I don't want to add too much more to what you guys have said already. I don't think I could articulate some of the stuff that you guys have said any better. It was really beautiful. But I am actually going to read from cards. So bear with me. It might be a little bit stilted. So I'd just like to start by saying thank you to everyone that's here for coming. I know that you are nearest and dearest, and you probably should come to our wedding wherever it is, or whenever it is. But it really does mean the world to us that you're here. Coniston is a particularly special place to me, as has already been alluded. It was particularly special to me and Alex's dad. He used to love coming here. He used to love being out in the Lake District and going for walks. And he used to often try and get me and Alex to stop playing Nintendo 64 and come with him. He had more success some Easter holidays than others, I think. So I just want to thank you for making the effort and travelling the distance to be here today. Obviously, though, there are a few people that I'd like to single out for some special thanks. Quite a few, so please bear with me. First of all, the bridesmaids. So Sophia, Helen, Maya, Britannia and Shannon, and also the chief bridesmaid, that's right, yeah, Hannah. All of you have been absolutely incredible in your love and support for Kirsty over the years, and in all your help in the last few weeks and the last few days in helping us get ready. As you can tell from what Kirsty said, we both appreciate it so much. And the fact that you're all looking so beautiful today is a bonus. Thank you. My ushers. So Pete, Will, Tom and Tom, you also look gorgeous. Thank you for your help these past few weeks. You've been great. All the help you've been given has been much appreciated. You're not just good friends, again, to me and Kirsty, all of you, but I think you are all true gentlemen. We have a small token of our gratitude, some presents. We've got some engraved tankards. Now, I'm not going to get them out now, I'm going to pass them out later, but I thought maybe we could share a beer with your tankards. And yes, thank you guys. Alex, my first and only choice for best man. Now that's partly because you're a thoroughly decent bloke, and also partly because no one else would have given me a Star Wars and Lake District themed quiz on my stag do. I'm very proud to call you my brother. I have a gift for you as well. It is also a drinking implement. It's not a tankard. It's a drinking horn that we've got engraved with your name on it. Now, I should warn you that there is actually a spelling error on there. I'm saving your embarrassment because you might not have realised that when I handed it over. But again, join us for a drink later in tankards and drinking horns. Thank you very much. Kathy and Paul. Now, I'm going to drop a film reference here. Now, maybe Kath and Paul won't get this, so I don't know how this is going to go down. But those of you who have seen the film Pulp Fiction will know the character Winston Wolfe. Now, he's the person you call that gets things done. Anything done, at short notice, at any time. These past few weeks, and also these past years, Kathy and Paul have been our Winston Wolves. Now, they haven't disposed of any bodies. That's true. But they did make lights and bunting, find wooden ladders, find piano players, and taxi us wherever we wanted to go, usually more than once, because we couldn't quite decide what we wanted to do first time round, obviously. So thank you for doing all of that and more, and for doing it all, always, with smiles and warmth. Thank you. So Nikki, Simon, Bob, Debs, Bernie, Tammy, Adrian and Mary. I know that I've been using the terms auntie and uncle for far longer than I really should have done. Please consider them terms of endearment. You are friends as well as my family, and an absolute pleasure to spend time with. Thank you all, and his cousins included, for your support over the years and for helping make sure that we've all stayed close. Thank you. And on a similar note, my new family. So that's Brewers, Darcy's, Lawrence's, Anna Giles. From the very first barbecue, and it was inevitably a barbecue, you've made me feel part of the family and never just Kirsty's partner. So thank you all for that. And on the topic of barbecues, the king and queen of summer meals, good wine and cooked meats, Pete and Jacqueline, my father and mother-in-law. I know that I like to talk up your barbecues and your cooking generally, but it's your warmth and company and generous spirit that I have appreciated most of all. Thank you. Well, I say most of all, there is something that I appreciate even more.
Oh my God.
Your daughter. Your daughter is an absolute gem.
Cheers.
This is a woman who, as a child, would sing along to Vera Lynn while painting, write poetry on a range of geopolitical topics, and go to fancy dress parties as Marge Simpson while other girls in her class would have picked out their favourite Spice Girl. If those aren't signs of good parenting, I don't know what is. And so, Mrs. Kirsty Brewer, my wife, you look absolutely stunning tonight, but then you're so much more than just a beautiful face.
Thank you.
As most of you will know, Kirsty and I met while at the trailblazing hedge fund trade publication HFM Week. We sat next to one another and discussed long-short equity strategies, investment consultants, and the Alternative Investment Fund Managers Directive. Love blossomed. I mean, how could it not? We had a great team at HFM. Will Meyer, golden years. And our boss and good friend Gwyn once described you, Kirsty, in a way that was more insightful than I think he realised. He once called you, affectionately, an angry Yoda. Now bear with me, it's not just an excuse to make a Star Wars reference, there's some relevance here. Kirsty does not suffer fools gladly. Certainly not Dave Beatty-shaped fools. That's an in-joke there, sorry guys. But with her friends, she is the most passionate and the most loyal advocate you could ever hope to have. She is there for you whenever and wherever you need her, and has a gift for delivering the advice you need to hear in a way you want to hear it. Anyone who can call Kirsty their friend is very lucky indeed, and I am the man who gets to call her his best friend, in a very meaningful and now very legally binding way. Lastly, the other woman in my life. In a room full of kind and generous people, Mum, you are still the most kind-hearted person I know. Paul, thank you for keeping her that way, for being her rock. Mum, thank you for your endless affection and efforts to point me in the right direction. You often take me to one side to offer a kind word and some reassurance, and one thing in particular has stuck with me. You ask me if I feel loved, not just that I am. Usually I will shuffle awkwardly and nod sheepishly, but it's always appreciated. And so I'd like to end by potentially making my wife shuffle a little awkwardly. Kirsty, you make me a better person. I promise not just to love you, but to always make sure that you feel loved too. And on that note, I'd like to raise a glass and a toast to Kirsty. It's Kirsty.
I could try it without a mic if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It might be easier. I might.
Okay.
Okay. So, thank you everyone so much for being here for your wedding celebration.
I've been pre-warned, and now, since I've typed this up, disregarded the advice I was given, which was not to drink too much, because they know what we both like, but I think I might be. It's hard for me, and it's hard for us to imagine what life was like for Kirsty and Tony before they were together. And I, similarly to Tony, see Kirsty's pageant media moment as like a sliding door moment where everything changed. According to your LinkedIn profile, sorry, it's not very romantic. You first met Tony in May of 2011. Yeah? Good. After interviewing for a post that was controversially then given to Will. Let me just think about that for a minute. He's now become the villain of my little story. So many couples, when we're pushed for time, we've got lots of work on, tend to use maybe online dating apps to meet one another. So some very successful stories here, for example, if I'm getting my sources right, Plenty of Fish for Helen and James. Does that work? Yeah? Match.com for Nikki and Jason, and Guardian Soulmates for Shannon and Ben. But Kirsty and Tony instead bucked this trend and instead found love in the niche romantic world of hedge funds. Okay? They bonded over the use of varied and complex proprietary strategies and decided that they're not to be together. It must have been the way that Tony artfully sexed up some of your articles about long and short equity pensions which sealed the deal. But it has been clear since then there was meant to be. I noticed, and we all do, that you both really thoroughly enjoy one another's company. And I'm just so happy to see you both together. And I'm very happy also that you've kept Brewer as your celebrity. Thank you for doing that. One thing I love about you as a unit is your willingness to make ambitious and elaborate plans, but you also stick to them. What's best is that they don't remain as pipe dreams, but are actively pursued by you both. Your extensive fridge magnet collection is a testament to this, as is your kitsch Christmas tree with all those things from all over the world. As your friend Gavin recalled about your day touring Iguazu together, he was struck by your kindness, curiosity and a desire for travel and adventure. Together you've embarked on so many journeys, stretching from the Pacific Oceans to the bitter Atlantic seas in search of exotic marine life and sharks to snorkel with. It makes me so happy to see you get so much out of your relationship and do some of the things that you've really dreamed of. Anyway, next thing. A second reason why I think you're a great pair and perfect for each other is some of your curious rituals that you have together. Take, for example, when you wake up very early on a Monday morning to watch the latest episode of Game of Thrones in order to reduce the likelihood of spoilers. I've never seen anyone wake up with so much urgency and be so concerned about this, because I don't watch it, so I think it's fine. But apparently if you are a Game of Thrones fan, you have to get up at 6 in the morning to do this. Kirsty told me very proudly that on the first episode of season 7, they woke up at 6:30, had champagne and salmon and cream cheese bagels and went off to work. Now, that is so lovely, but also underlying problems perhaps with drinking that need to be addressed. But not now. Also, before mentioning you specifically, Tony, I think we need to really think about Alex here, because in my mind, Alex has been the person to have to endure your jokes longer than anyone else here, and I think that you should be commended for this, Alex, so I really appreciate that. Luckily for you, Tony, you have an overwhelming amount of redeeming qualities. Some of the things that stand out to me is how generous, as Kirsty picked up, you are. You're so expressive and you're so positive. You're also excellent at making cups of tea on cue, going out and making breakfast, as well as tidying up for Kirsty constantly. It's brilliant. She's done so much. You also deal very well with me being there a lot of the time, and I thank you on Thursday when I had a spontaneous sleepover and you laid on a champagne wedding breakfast and I crashed it. You were very gracious. The three of us sat together, you brought out the tray and I was always so wheel as well, and it's really kind that you didn't make me feel awkward. So thank you. I love being your third wheel, and long may it continue. Kirsty, you mean the world to me, and it makes me so happy to see you tie the knot with Tony today. It's a bit strange seeing you here as a married woman. I mean, you are married, but you know, in that way. After our journeys together from Eurocamp holidays, lengthy puppet shows, Peter Andre dance routines, recorder renditions you've all endured for many hours, Jaws shark attacks, drowning reenactments in the pool, Ariel the mermaid swimming competitions in the bath, our wet look hair cube days, and when I visited you in Brighton for lots of underage drinking and nightclubbing, so thank you, that was very special. I've got a few props, hang on. Although I do love that you're very respectful now, I hope that we can still have Christmases like this. You really are so classy. So I know you're all respectable now, but just remember this. And also, in terms of the crafts, linking to what Tony said, Kirsty's always been brilliant at making crafts. And to quote what Tony said, this is Kirsty as Marge. Amazing. The talent there. So perfectly executed. And I do link to what Tony was saying, that she thought, fuck it, I'm not going to be Posh Spice now. I'm going to be Marge. I think that's really important. I think it really sums you up, that you are just you, and you're always going to be you. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, you're just going to put on a Crayola blue cutout on your head. So, I think, let's have a little look. Yes! Oh no, they've got Star Wars in here. Okay, so, finally, I hope this works for you, Tony, because I'm not as good in Star Wars as you. In the words of Yoda and Han Solo, Kirsty and Tony, when 900 years old, you reach, when 900 old you reach, look as good you will not. So, laugh it up, fuzzballs. That's a little hybrid. And then Tony's a bit crude. According to Yoda, Tony, size matters not.
Okay, thank you all for the speeches so far. I'm sure you're pleased to hear that we've come to the keynote speaker, or in other words, the last one. So if you haven't realised already, my name's Alex and I'm Tony's younger brother and best man. So being brothers, we've always been competitive, so it's great that Tony's finally admitted that I am the best man. As we were growing up, Tony developed 3 mottos with how to live his life. The first one of these was minimum effort, maximum gain. What this meant in practice was to do everything at the last minute with only minutes to spare. So because of this, at school, he got a certificate for being exactly 5 minutes late every day, all year. So if it wasn't for me driving him today, I honestly thought he'd arrive just in time to say I do. His next motto was, why read a book when you can watch a film? And this one he has embraced like no other. Tony is a self-confessed film nerd, if we're honest. And I really thought his first choice of outfit today was going to be the Stormtrooper, but he had to settle for Star Wars planets. If you guys didn't get it for the first time round, they're what you're sitting on. In fact, Tony had a whole collection of Star Wars action figures that he's kept in a suitcase since he was young, which has been kept in his original packaging because he always thought they would become valuable. Good luck with that one, Tony. Stick with writing about hedge funds. His final motto is that there is always room for ice cream, something that I've never seen him turn down. So it would be impossible to talk about Tony without mentioning his love of football. I've actually met most of his friends through playing five-a-side football with him. And through all the games that I've played, the phrase that I've heard most often is, "Tony, pass the ball." He used to dribble and lose the ball again. Finally, I'd like to share with you one last anecdote about Tony. One from when he was a little bit younger, and showed, you know, as the eldest cousin of us all, how he set an example for us. So it was a family party, and Tony, just being almost legally able to drink, enthusiastically downed drinks in rapid succession, before finishing the night early, being put in the recovery position on the lawn of our aunties, who had to explain why Tony was suddenly feeling ill. But seriously, I know Tony and Kirsty's put a lot of effort into today, but also actually creating a wedding event in itself, and it's great that so many of you have taken the time to spend the whole week up here, not just the day, and I know they've really appreciated it. Kirsty and her bridesmaids are looking fantastic today. Tony, thanks for turning up. So I actually first met Tony and Kirsty when they labelled their relationship work colleagues. But soon, with Kirsty arriving at family events, I realised that something was a little bit more. It was clear to see that Kirsty, the fiery Londoner, and Tony, the small town boy from Folkestone, were natural together. I think the real thing changed for me was when we actually started a Christmas tradition ourselves. So that was me, Tony and Kirsty. So every year when the next Star Wars film came out, we would, on the first day it came out, we would all go to the IMAX cinema to watch the first showing at 6 AM before work. And we've done this every year for the past few years. I knew with Kirsty so enthusiastic, they were definitely meant for each other. I'm happy to say that Tony and I are not just brothers, but also friends. And I'm really pleased that he and Kirsty found each other. I'm also really happy to say that I can now call Kirsty my sister too, and I'm really happy that you've now joined the family. So a final toast to Tony and Kirsty, the hottest couple in the cosmos.
Tony and Kirsty.
There? Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, who's eating that? Who wants to eat it?
You got link arms, cross arms. When you put it on his nose.
He looked confused.
That's it.
Was I meant to do that? I feel like you're just telling me rubbish.
Being wacky, Kirsty.
Right, Serviette. Right, mother and bride.
Right, here we go, everyone's itching to have a dance. Let's welcome on to the dance floor, please. Your bride and groom, Kirsty and Tony.
Drinking in the morning sun, blinking in the morning sun, shaking off the heavy one, yeah, heavy cha. How low can you go? Can you go down low? All the way to the floor? How low can you go? Can you bring it to the top? Like you never stop? Can you bring it to the top? One hop. Right foot now. Left foot now, y'all. Charlie Brown. Slide to the right. Slide to the left. Take it back now, y'all. Cha-cha now, y'all. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. 3 hops this time. Right foot now. Left foot now, y'all. Cha-cha now. Turn it out. Be looking out for part 3. It's going to be coming to you soon.
Just one more time, can we say congratulations to a fantastic couple, to Kirsty and Tony, everybody!
Don't remember my name when my hands don't play the strings the same way. I know you will still love me the same, 'cause honey, your song could never grow old, it's evergreen. Baby, your smile forever in my mind and memory. I'm thinking about how people fall in love in mysterious ways. Maybe it's all part of a plan. Well, I'll just keep on making the same mistakes, hoping that you'll understand. But baby, now take me into your loving arms, kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars, place your hand on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud, maybe we found love right where we Baby, now take me into your arms, kiss me under the light of 1,000 stars. Oh darling, place your hand on my beating heart. I'm thinking out loud, but maybe we found love right
Come on, more!
Yeah.
it's a video, so you can say what the hell you like, you know. You can do silly things as well. No posing for a video. I just stayed all night till you get up.
Control yourself.
We're not sending it.